It's an assessment which has been described as desperately depressing by criminal justice campaigners. The goings-on inside this Category B male prison in South London, the focus of this report. Now, Vanessa Weglin is the vice chair of the HMP Wandsworth Independent Monitoring Board. That's the watchdog behind this report, and she's been speaking to me here a little earlier this evening.
The board has great concerns that the substantial budget cuts which have occurred to the prison service over the last 5 years really are having a very detrimental effect on the lives of the prisoners. Prisoners are spending too long locked up in their cells. They do not have sufficient work or education to do simply because there are quite significant shortages of officers, and as a result they cannot be unlocked and cannot do purposeful activity as a result.
You've been inside the prison numerous times in the workings of this report. Just describe to us what the situation is like inside behind the bars.
Well, it's not as noisy as you might believe. Some people think that prisons can be incredibly noisy, but they're not. But the difficulty is that those people who need the help of the prison service to not re-offend when they are released are not getting the support that they need when they are in custody. There are, of course, a lot of people on remand who choose not to work, and there are also quite a substantial number of foreign national prisoners. But clearly those people who are in for sentences do need help to, upon release, to get work and to be educated and to be having homes, and the type of environment that they are in is not conducive to doing that.
Now, you've touched on the issue of staff shortages, a key concern highlighted in your report. Just how critical a situation is that here?
It is absolutely critical. Not only has the government allowed the budget cuts to result in massive cuts to staff over the last few years, but they have made considerable efforts in the last few months to recruit new staff. But the other problem is retention of existing staff. The job is incredibly tough, and as you will have read in our report, we do pay tribute to the staff of HMP Wandsworth and the management of the prison, who do incredibly good work and very hard work to do the very best they can. But if there aren't enough people to do the job effectively, then it makes it doubly hard.
Speaking in response to this report, the director of the Prison Reform Trust, Peter Dawson, has said that it's down to ministers to change the demands made on prisons, not the overworked staff trying to keep them afloat. What do you make of that? What are you calling for as a result of this report?
We are calling for more concerted efforts to make the working conditions of prison officers better by recruiting more of them. But as I say, that is being done quite at the moment, but it does mean that there are a lot of quite inexperienced staff who are being trained by the more experienced staff, and that in itself makes life quite hard for the prisoners.
Now, in response to this report, the Ministry of Justice has admitted there remains progress to be made at Wandsworth Prison, but say action has been taken to address the staffing shortage along with measures to tackle drugs and violence. A prison service spokesperson has told this programme that we are committed to transforming prisons into places of safety and reform, and have announced a major overhaul of the prison system, including 2,500 extra frontline officers. We're confident that these additional resources will allow the Governor and the senior management team to focus on implementing the innovative plans underway at HMP Wandsworth, which will give prisoners the skills and education they need to turn their lives around. Nonetheless, a damning report into life behind bars at this South London prison.